The new intern laughed, "I'm basically your boss now," when she was made project lead after 2 days, so I followed her ridiculous instructions to the letter and built the entire presentation in Comic Sans with cat GIF transitions. Then I quietly plugged it into the conference room screen as the CEO walked in. After the presentation fiasco, you'd think someone would have learned a lesson. But no, her name was Alyssa, 22, straight out of some overpriced college, and somehow fast-tracked into a lead role on a project I'd been managing for 2 years. It made no sense until I realized her mentor was upper management's favorite nephew. That explained a lot. After the Comic Sans and cat GIF disaster, she tried to play it off like it was a team prank. She told the CEO it was a test run for engagement. A joke. Said we were planning to pivot to the real version after that. She even laughed. But the CEO didn't laugh back. He stood there stone-faced, then looked at me. "Is this what we're pitching to investors next week?" I shook my head. "No, sir. That was her version. I've got mine ready if you'd like to see it." His eyes locked on Alyssa. "Get it together," he said, cold and clear. "Or get out." For a moment, I thought that was it. I thought she'd crawl back to her cube, rethink how she spoke to people, maybe even say thank you for not throwing her completely under the bus. Instead, she doubled down. That afternoon, I caught her in the hallway whispering to the VP, Brandon, the same guy who'd vouched for her. I couldn't hear every word, but I caught enough. He undermined me, not a team player, made me look stupid on purpose. I didn't panic. I knew what she was doing. Classic damage control. But the next morning, I walked into HR with a formal warning in my file. Unprofessional conduct toward a junior colleague. No hearing, no conversation. Just a file update and a stern talk from Brandon, who now seemed to be gunning for me. "You've been here a long time," he said, "but we're changing how things are done around here." I almost laughed. This wasn't just a power trip, it was a setup. Alyssa wanted me out, and she had help. I had a wife, 2 kids, and a mortgage. I wasn't going to let some fake-it-till-you-make-it intern and her office politics ruin my life. So I got smart. First, I documented everything. Emails, Slack messages, voicemails. Every dumb request she sent, every out-of-line comment, every time she dismissed someone else's work and claimed it as her own. Second, I started asking her for written clarification on everything. "Just so I'm following your leadership direction, can you confirm we're ignoring the client's requested format? Can you put that revision in writing? So I make sure it aligns with your vision." She hated it, but she answered. Every time. She wanted to play boss? I made her be the boss, with all the accountability that came with it. Then came the breaking point. A major pitch with a Fortune 500 client. Brandon handed Alyssa full reins again, probably trying to boost her leadership experience. I sat back, quiet, cooperative. She asked me to build the presentation deck. I did, exactly how she said. At the last minute, she asked me to swap out a data chart with a more colorful version she'd made in Canva. I told her, "This chart doesn't reflect the client's Q2 results." She snapped, "You're not in charge of decisions. Just do what I say." So I did. The meeting started. Big client. Full boardroom. Our CEO on the call. Alyssa beaming, Brandon nodding proudly. Then she clicked to the slide. The chart was wrong. Like, offensively wrong. Showed the client's losses as gains. Reversed the metrics. At least 4 C-suite people looked around in confusion. The client's CFO said, "This isn't our data." Alyssa froze. I leaned forward slowly and said, loud and clear, "That's the chart she approved. I flagged it as incorrect last night." The silence was like gravity. Then the CEO's voice cut through. "Meeting over. We'll reschedule after we clean this up." He hung up. Brandon turned bright red. Alyssa looked like she was going to cry. But the fallout hadn't even started yet. They tried to blame me. Again. But this time I had receipts. Time-stamped emails. Slack confirmations. Recorded Zoom calls. I sent it all to HR. And then, I waited. But what happened next caught even me off guard. The fallout should have taken her out. Anyone else would have been fired or at least moved to some dead-end corner of the company. But Alyssa? She stayed. She stayed because Brandon stepped in again. "She's young," he told HR. "Still learning." It was a team breakdown. He even had the nerve to write a joint memo blaming a miscommunication between departments for the failed pitch. I read it 3 times in disbelief. It pushed responsibility onto everyone except Alyssa, and especially me. That same afternoon, I was pulled into a meeting. HR, Brandon, Alyssa, and someone from legal. "Given the ongoing personality clashes," Brandon said with fake concern, We're moving you to a support role on the infrastructure team. Temporary, of course. That's code for burying you. They wanted me quiet, away from the client's side, so Alyssa could keep playing pretend project manager. That was their fix. I had a choice. Stay low, swallow my pride, protect my paycheck, or fight. So I said nothing. I nodded, packed up my things, moved desks. Then I started making calls. Over the years, I'd built good relationships, real ones, with clients, vendors, even a few quiet allies up the ladder. I didn't whine or play victim. I just told the truth. Hey, I won't be leading your account anymore. Why not? Internal changes. But if anything comes up, let me know. I've seen a few issues pop up already. The issues popped up fast. Within 2 weeks, 3 clients called to complain. Alyssa had missed deadlines, misunderstood their needs, and, in one case, sent the wrong invoice to a procurement department, costing them a deal. Real money was involved now. Real damage. But here's where it got messy. A junior dev named Marcus approached me quietly one morning. I need to show you something. He pulled out his phone and showed me a screen recording. It was Alyssa on Zoom, yelling at the design team, mocking a disabled coworker's voice behind their back, and saying, "They'll never fire me. I'm Brandon's golden ticket." My stomach turned. That was the moment the game changed. It wasn't just office politics anymore. It was toxic, hostile, and protected by someone above her who was too blind or too biased to care. I told Marcus to email it to himself, timestamp it, and hold on to it. I said, "Don't leak it." "Not yet." Then I called someone I hadn't spoken to in months, Julia, a former senior manager who'd quit a year earlier. She left after her own complaints against Brandon mysteriously disappeared in HR. "Funny timing," she said. "I've got a folder. I wasn't sure what to do with it. But if someone else is still going through it..." She sent me everything. Emails, old texts, even screenshots of Slack threads where Brandon openly joked about cutting the old guard loose and making room for people who actually look good in meetings. He never named names, but the tone was clear. I gathered it all, every bad chart, every rude message, every complaint forwarded from frustrated clients. And I waited for just the right moment. That moment came sooner than I expected. One of our biggest clients sent a formal letter. They were backing out of a multi-year contract. Said they didn't feel confident in leadership after recent mistakes. It hit the exec team like a bomb. Emergency meeting. CEO, legal, HR, and me invited last minute because you used to lead this account. I walked into the room with a thick manila folder. No speech. No rant. Just dropped it on the table. "I didn't want to do this," I said quietly. "But if you're serious about fixing this, here's everything you missed." The CEO opened the folder. Alyssa's fake numbers. Brandon's emails. The Zoom recording. He didn't say a word for a full 2 minutes. When he finally looked up, his voice was cold. "Everyone out. Except him." Alyssa looked at me like I'd just stabbed her. Brandon went pale. They left the room. I stayed. And that's when the real unraveling began. The room was quiet after they left. The CEO just stared down at the folder. His fingers tapped the desk once, twice, then stopped. Finally, he looked at me. "How long have you been holding this?" "Not long," I said. "But the damage has been building for months." He nodded slowly. "Why didn't you bring this to me earlier?" I answered honestly. "Because I thought it would get buried like everything else." He didn't argue. Didn't defend Brandon. Just stared at the papers again. "I'll handle it," he said. "Go home." I did. The fallout came fast. Alyssa was gone by the end of the week. No send-off. No goodbye email. Her desk was cleared out overnight, like she was never there. Word was she tried to say she was being targeted, but once the video got out, the one where she mocked our disabled coworker, there was no saving her. The company offered that employee a public apology. Paid leave. A raise. Alyssa tried to go online and flipped the story. Claimed she was harassed and pushed out. But someone, maybe Marcus, leaked the video. It spread on LinkedIn, Reddit, even a couple of industry sites. Her name was ruined. No company would touch her. She disappeared from every platform within a week. But Brandon? His fall was worse. The CEO didn't fire him right away. That would have been too easy. First, they opened a formal investigation. HR went through old complaints, some going back 3 years. Turns out Alyssa wasn't the first he'd fast-tracked. Just the sloppiest. One woman came forward saying Brandon had promised her a raise in exchange for loyalty. Another said he made comments about her clothes in meetings. Nobody had listened to them, until now. The board got involved. So did legal. I wasn't in the room when they told him, but someone who was said Brandon broke down, right there in the office. First he yelled, then he cried. Then he begged. Didn't matter. They cut him loose 2 weeks later. No severance. No letter of recommendation. Just a box and a security escort. He didn't go quietly, though. About a month later, I got a message from someone I didn't know. A woman named Rachel. Said she was Brandon's wife. I just want to ask, did you work with him? I said yes. Asked why. She said he was drinking. Sleeping in his car some nights. Said he wasn't talking to their kids. He'd told her he was the victim of a company conspiracy. I didn't know what to say. She didn't ask for more. Just said, "Thank you for telling the truth." I never heard from her again. But it didn't end there. After everything blew up, the CEO asked me to take over the entire department. I said no at first. I was tired, burned out. But after thinking it through, and seeing the faces of the younger team members who finally felt safe again, I accepted. I didn't want to run the place with fear. I just wanted it clean. The company gave me full freedom to rebuild the team. We rehired some people who'd quit, promoted folks who deserved it, and for the first time in years, the atmosphere started to shift. People spoke up. Ideas flowed. Nobody was afraid to ask questions anymore. But not everything was perfect. The stress had taken a toll on me too. My wife, Michelle, had been patient through all of it, but I'd been distant. Obsessed. Coming home late. Zoning out at the dinner table. One night, after putting the kids to bed, she sat me down. "You won," she said. "But we lost time. We lost you for a while." She wasn't wrong. I apologized. I really did. And we started therapy, not because we were falling apart, but because I didn't want to let my job become my whole identity again. It worked. Slowly. Our daughter, Olivia, was 7 then. She asked me one night, "Daddy, why do you smile more now?" That hit me. I told her, "Because I finally feel like myself again." And it was true. Revenge didn't feel good in the way I thought it would. It didn't bring joy, but it brought balance. It cleared the rot that had taken root in a place I used to love working at. And it protected good people. People like Marcus, like the designer Alyssa mocked, like the juniors who were afraid to speak. To this day, I don't brag about what happened. I don't tell the full story at work. The people who need to know already do. And the ones who came in later, they only see what we rebuilt. But sometimes when someone says, "I feel like this team actually listens," I smile to myself. Because that was the whole point. And that's how I know I did the right thing. Even if it nearly broke me.